right, we're live. Got a viewer. Hey, Casey. I'm going to just share this to my Facebook here real quick. Just sharing a few things here, guys. Okay, all right. If you're just jumping on because this is officially my first real paint night online, say hi so I know you're there. All right, we're just gonna wait a few more minutes for people to pop on. Hey, Vicky. And while we're waiting, I'm just going to give you a little tour of my studio. Look, we're going to hang out with Bob tonight. Hey, there's Bob. All right. Let's see, I get this set up here. If you guys are just jumping on, say hi. Bob's a permanent fixture here at the studio. All right, I'm just gonna get a few more minutes for people to jump on. Since we officially don't start till 7 o'clock. All right, so it's showing me, it's just not showing me the comments on here. So I'm gonna pull it up in 2 different spots so that I can see. Hey, Becky. Is it Jana Lee? Hi, Jana Lee. And Samantha, great. I'm glad that you are, you're joining me tonight. And I'm glad that your kids are excited, Becky. This is gonna be a lot of fun. All right, so it is 7 o'clock, so I'm just gonna start. You can't really see me, so I'm gonna flip it back to me just for a second. I'm Lori. I'm the owner of Painting with Lori. I do paint nights. I originally started paint night online, doing this exact thing, and then I switched to go to restaurants and bars. With what I can confirm that, Len. Absolutely, I'm glad that you're on. I am using, I'll go over it in just a second. So I switched to restaurants and bars, which has been really great, and I've had a great time. I've been very successful in doing it, and I've been able to open up a studio. Hey, Sarah. With everything that's going on right now, it's kind of shaky, and as an artist, I'm really scared. So Hopefully this takes off and we're excited and we'll get to paint with each other. Hey, Jen. And again, I'm offering online, I'm offering kits that I'm mailing out. It is not this type of canvas. This is a stapled back canvas. I am offering canvas panel because it will be more durable in the mail. My husband's watching. Hey, guys. And currently I'm at my studio right now set up, and I will go through the supplies tonight and then we'll start painting. So we have 5 colors tonight. We are using any blue of your choice. I chose to go with a lighter blue, a darker green, and if you don't have a dark green, no problem. We can, no problem, Jen, you keep up when you can. Or using a green, you can add black to make it a darker green. Kits are $20 for the first canvas, but it includes the paints that would cover that canvas and the brushes. Each additional canvas, which will include brushes as well as additional paint for that canvas, is an additional $10. So for a family of 4, it would be $50, I'm sorry. So $20 for the initial and then $10 for each additional on that, plus shipping. But you get to have the brushes later on, and there should be more than enough paint to do multiple paintings with. I'm sending out basic colors so that you'll be able to mix colors based on what that painting will be. And then if you get a chance to go out and buy more canvas, great. If not, you can always just buy a canvas without, hey Matt, you can just buy a canvas without all the additional stuff. Hey Desiree. And I can get those mailed out to you as well. And those are actually cheaper if you don't want the additional items. Like if you don't want the additional paint or you don't want the additional brushes, the kit gets smaller. All right, so absolutely. I will definitely, once this live's done, I will send you that. If you go to my website though, paintingwithlori.com, generally, there across the banner, across the top, it will be online paint night, or online kit, I think it is. It's next to the live paint nights where I go into studio, go in either in my studio or at the bars. There's another spot on there that will actually direct you to get those kits. Hi, Kathy. All right, so to go back into the colors, we're using, I'm using blue. I chose a light blue, but you can choose whatever blue that you would like. Any green that you would like. I asked for a darker green, but if you don't have a dark green, no problem. You can always add black to it to darken that hue. Black, white, and I asked for a yellow. I chose like more of a mustardy yellow. This is just going to give a little bit more dimension to our, they could be flowers or there could be the cotton ball plant, a cotton plant. So what we're going to do now, and I asked you to have a flat brush and a round brush. It's always good to have something, or bad clothing, so that if a splatter happens, you don't want to have stains in your clothing. Something to clean your brushes on. Hey, Mary. And something to, like a cup of water to clean your brushes in, and then a paper towel to dry your brushes. What we're going to do first, if you're ready to paint, because I'm ready to paint, I've been looking forward all day to do this. What we're going to do, I'm going to move myself so that we're back on the canvas on the screen and not me. I'm using an 11 by 14 inch canvas right now. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit. Hey, Erica. Let me see if I can move it just a little. Better? Does that look good? All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to take our flat brush, whatever canvas you're using, you're going to cover that background in whatever color. I chose the blue. If you have a darker blue and you want to make it lighter, go ahead and add a little white to your brush. So you want to pick up, hey Desiree, so you want to pick up some water on your brush, dry off the excess water, and then pick up the color that you want to paint your background. I am going to go up and down and fill my canvas with that blue, just up and down. I want the design of showing the lines. You can scribble on it and fill it in that way, and it doesn't matter if you have those lines or not. I want to have the lines to show in the background. So what we're doing right now is we're picking up that blue and we're going to color the background. And if your paint is not moving very well, it is catching and it's awful thick, add a little water to your brush and then mix it in to your paint and then spread that right on there. It will thin the paint out. And I found that I think I might want to add a little white into it. I'm not exactly liking this color. So I'm just mixing a little bit of white into that blue. And we want to cover this background. And if you can't catch up with me tonight, if it's moving too fast for you, do know that you can, this will be replayed, so you can actually join the replay and watch it again. And I plan on, while we are having this social distancing, I'm going to plan on going live pretty much every night, just to help people out. By donation only. I'd appreciate it. Again, because we are in uneasy times. And I don't know what's going to happen to my studio or what's going to happen to this. So if you enjoy it, please donate. All my information should be pinned where I'm accepting donations for being able to paint for you guys. And feel free to share this video. I would love it if you did. Share the stream so other people can see, even if they can't donate, that we're bringing joy to other people. And if you want to be really fancy at home, as I always say at my paint nights, you can paint the sides of your canvas. If you do that, it makes it look more professional at the end and more finished so that you don't have to frame it. Side note, I'm too lazy to do that on most of my paintings. Hey, Caitlin. Connor, we're in it right now. See Bobby? He's a permanent fixture. He's wonderful. All right, so this is actually pretty drenched with paint right now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and clean my brush up. Hopefully this is let up soon. Hopefully, well, not let up soon. Hopefully we find something that we can make it so people don't get sick. And me too, Caitlin. And that we can enjoy people again. I feel like we're gonna be in a long time like this. All right, so I'm gonna let it dry a little bit. And the great thing about acrylic, it doesn't take very long to dry. So while it does look fairly wet right now, this side is pretty much dry. We're just waiting for the other side now. Maybe I will paint the sides of the canvas. And I did post today on my Facebook that all paint nights up until April 1st at this point have been postponed. I'm hoping, I don't know. I just feel like that we're not going to be able to get out together and paint. In my heart, I want to. In reality, no, it's probably going to be a long time before we can get out and do things like that again. All right, so we gotta let this dry because if we go over it with any other color, it's just gonna blend and blur. Okay, let that dry for a second. I know, Kathy, I know. Believe me, I know. I'm bummed. I'm seriously bummed. Hi, Katie, thanks for joining. It's weird, my laptop shows me all the comments. My phone tells me just who's joining. My laptop tells me everything, so that makes me happy. I see that there's about 20 of us, or 21 of us on. A fragrance flower paint night at Southside. A fragrance flower paint night at Southside on the 19th. Fragrance flower paint night. I didn't know they were doing other paint nights besides me at Southside. Yeah, I do go there about twice a month. I was supposed to go there on the 30th, but I just can't. Yes, so there's a donation pin on my website of paintingwithlori.com. Also, in this video, there should be text that says like Paint Night Live and some emoticons, and then it says donate, and you can donate via PayPal, paypal.me/lseekins, which is my maiden name. My Venmo, which is at Lori-Miller-188, or Cash App at #paintingwithlori. Or you can go to my website, paintingwithlori.com, and then on the top right, there should be a little button that will say donate. Fragrance flower. I've never heard of that. I'll have to look it up. I think we're almost dry here. It's actually pretty close. Hi, Kylie. Okay. All right, I think it's a little wet. Hey, Megan. Absolutely. Thank you, Roberta, for coming on. Oh, it's Scentsy. Well, that sounds fun. You're still drying, Lynn. Absolutely. I believe it. It is a lot of paint that does cover that background. My studio is actually, oh, it's all wet and I'm still touching it. My studio is actually cooler than normal, so it actually is taking a little bit longer to dry. Well, Roberta, you keep watching, because I'll be doing it every night. I'll be coming on every night to paint. My husband actually made a comment last night. He's like, we're going to have so many paintings. Yes, we are. Well, while we're waiting this to dry, I'll show you the other side. See if I can flip this around. I can. So this is part of the studio. That was the very first paint night I ever did, that flower one up there. So this is part of my studio. There's another door, and then I have, oh, you can't see it past the box. There's a box of canvases that came in. I have a popcorn maker down there, coffee maker. It's always free popcorn in the studio. So if you ever join, we have free popcorn always. All right, let's see. Here we go. See if I can move that back now that I done messed it up. All right. And I also have usually a sparkling water or some type of soda. I do have Bob. The birch. I do love that painting too. Maybe I'll do that painting some night because that didn't sell when I put it out, but I think it would do great online. Yeah, Bobby and I were real good friends. Just a few more minutes, I think. Thank you guys for being patient. This is real life, so paint does take a little bit longer to dry. Yep. And if you ever want any specific paints or anything, I can just mail out some paints to you. I do have little containers, which I showed in the image that I was sending out with the paint kits. I can send out specific colors to you and make it much cheaper. I think if it's under £1, I could ship it out for probably $3 to $4, and then we'll do some cheaper ones. Fairy house with fairies. Ooh, that would be fun. Absolutely. Listen, I'm going to make a list here. We'll do that. Let me pull up something that I can make a list. So we want fairy house and fairies and that birch tree. Birch tree painting. So again, I'm going to try to come on every night. This one tonight is at 7 o'clock, but in reality is I have to put kids to bed, so it's probably going to be closer to 8 o'clock for most nights after they go to bed. But the great thing about Facebook Live is that it records, and I'll put the replay back on. I'm also, because of postponing, I was doing the gnome painting, and if you bought tickets to gnome, I can refund those to you. That was going to be at O'Brien's in Waterville. I'm going to bring that online so we can actually paint that as a group. And that, Hunter, yes, and thank you so much, Hunter, for the donation. I was going to do a sun and moon actually. At Duncan on the 20, I think it was next week, the 23rd. So unfortunately, with this coronavirus, everything is postponed. Okay, I think I might be close. I mean, the blue is still showing up, but I think it might be dry enough for me to be able to move forward. And if you can't move forward right now, no big deal. You can always, I will, check to see where everyone's at, and then we can always check back and go into. All right. Thanks, Kathy. I really appreciate that. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is, in my head, when I was gonna paint this out, because I have painted this painting before. I painted it for a fundraiser last year for a Walk of Hope. I put the mason jar off to the side of the canvas. So we're going to draw in the mason jar first before we put any plants in there. Now, what I would do is use the round brush that you have, because it's going to be able to, you're going to be able to manipulate it like a pen, and people use, it's much easier for you to use that. So you're going to get that brush wet, wipe off the additional water, and I would pick up some white. Now, I'm using, again, that round brush. You're just going to roll the tip of the brush back and forth into the paint. What that's going to do is bring a point to the tip of the paint, to your paintbrush, and we're going to draw the top of the mason jar. Now, what that is actually a oval. I'm going to show you on my canvas real quick here. So I think I'm going to go right about here. So we're going to go. So that's going to be the top of my mason jar. Can you see that? Kind of, that light. See if I can pull it closer. So that's the top of the mason jar. You can make it bigger or smaller. I'm making it this size by the size of the canvas. And then below this, we want to go probably, depending on the size of your canvas, about an inch. And this line right here that we drew on the bottom of that oval, we want to match that line on the bottom of it, about an inch below that bottom line. So I'm going to bring it up close so that you can see. So this is going to be where the mouth of the jar is. This is where the bottom part of that mouth, right there. Now, from underneath, and the reason why we go in with white and not any other color is that white is easy to get rid of. If we don't like it, we can paint over it. So we're going to now connect this part here to the bottom part of that mouth. We're going to pull the line in a little bit. So it's going to almost be like a curved line in. I'm going to bring it back up here just so you can see. We connected this line here by kind of angling it in a little bit. And connect that line in to the opening of that mouth. So it almost kind of looks like a hockey puck, just a kind of a squished, or even like a ice cream sandwich, where that's the top cookie and that's the bottom. Ice cream sandwich, like a sea dog sandwich. All right, so now for the jar, we're going to bring a line out and then down off the canvas. So it's going to curve out a little bit. So right below the mouth, we're going to curve that out and we're going to bring it down. Okay? We're also going to do the same thing on the other side. So it's going to be, you're just going to follow the original line that you painted, pull it out a little bit, and then go straight down. I'm softening that because I was doing that sideways. All right, so that we should have what resembles a jar or some type of bottle. Not necessarily have to be in full detail of the mason jar per se. We're just gonna get that basic shape on there, because next we're going to be drawing in the stems of our flowers, and we want to have that there so we know where those stems are going to come out of. So we want to clean our brush. Pull that down a little so you can see it better. Okay. Now what I did here was I took some of that green and a little bit of black. And when I mean a little bit of black, I mean a very tiny amount of black. So I pulled some green off and a little bit, just barely touching that black. You can see I barely pulled it onto my brush. And I'm gonna mix it in with the green. We just wanna change the hue of the green. We don't want to bring a whole lot of black into it. And the reason why we don't wanna put green into black is that black will dominate any color and you're just gonna make more black. If you pull black to another color, you're gonna darken that hue. All right, so this is where you're going to make the decision on how many flowers that you want to put in there. I put in 5 on my original painting, and I think I might do the same here. So I think I'm going to put like 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 over here. So we're going to, I think I'm missing comments here. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm getting everybody. Can I watch live on this? Okay, nope, I'm good. Okay. So we're going to be picking the direction that we want these to go. And I said I was going to put 3 here, and then 1 over here, and 1 over here. So I'm going to make a line of my first, and it's just going to cover over what we painted. So I want to have 1 going in that direction, and I want it to go off the canvas. So I have my first section of where that flower is going to go. And then I'm going to put another one in here, just kind of have it follow down in. You can see my paint isn't dry down here, so it didn't pick up that color very well. And then I'm going to have another one up here. And these can overlap, and it can go into, you're going to draw over those white lines. Again, that was a guide to know where in the jar it was going to be. And you can see that I have a little of the blue showing through the stem, and that's okay. And I just continue to pick up more of that color and then pick my next spot. So I think I want one like right here. And we're just painting a line down. And again, we're rolling the paint into our brush like this. So you're getting the point on the brush. And then I think I want one over here. So these are going to be my flowers. Now what I'm also going to do, no, I'm not going to do that. We're going to clean our brush up. And we're going to start painting our flowers. Okay, So, I'm gonna get a little drink here. Are we frozen? No, okay. I'm going to start drawing in the flowers. Now, I'm a big fan of scribbling. So I'm going to grab that flat brush that I was using before, and I'm just going to pick up some white paint on it. So it's just a little bit of white paint, not a glob, just a little bit, just enough. And I'm going to start sketching out the flowers, or cotton blossoms. I don't know. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to be making a circle-esque area. I'll show you when I have it, the first one completed. So it is literally just placing color down. There's no, let's see if we can readjust here. You can kind of see the blue through it. No real detail of that area. And they can actually cover up each other, like they're sitting on top of each other. We're doing circle, like at the end it's going to be a circle-esque shape. It's not going to be a complete circle because it's made of little dashes, but and I'm moving the brush, manipulating it around to get, when I know that there's more paint on my brush, just to let that fall down into that. And I'm doing it to every single stem that I made. So if you made more than 5, great. You're just gonna follow that process. Let me show you what I did. Bring it up close. So it's literally little dashes all around with white. You're gonna see blue through it. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to be adding a little shading to it. What's that? We're gonna add a little shading to it, so I'm gonna grab that same brush that I was using before because I'm comfortable with it. I want you to use the brush that you're comfortable with. And this is where we're gonna put in that mustard yellow. So again, because white will pick up any color, I'm grabbing some white out of it. I pull it off to the side, and I'm just gonna dip my brush into that yellow, and I'm gonna mix it in until I get the color that I want. So I'm gonna end up with almost like a light tan yellow. And this is where we're gonna add some shading into our flower or cotton blossoms. And I'm just gonna add the same dash movements, however, it's going to be very sparse. So I added about 5 on there, just little dashes. So I'm taking that brush and I'm gonna be following the outside mainly of each one. See if I can paint it from this direction. Now I've got some really bright color. I know the contrast looks a little different based on what I can see on the computer to what it actually looks like in person. Let's see if I can lighten it up a little bit. Oh, I don't know who's calling me. Sorry. Now I'm going to use that same color I created. I'm going to grab more white into it because I want to dilute it. And we're going to be making another color out of that color. Okay? And I'm going to do the same movement that I did previously, but I'm going to fill in the rest of the other side. All right, so we've got our basic flower down. Now, I know this is going to sound a little... The last one was the same color we used to make that darker color, but I diluted it with a little bit more white. So I went through and added that color back in. On the other side, where I did the darker on one side, I added that to the other side of each flower. I know the shading, I should have set up my ring light. I didn't do it tonight because when I got here, I was like, oh, the light's perfect. Now, I know it's going to sound a little asinine because we just covered it with white on top of the blue, but I'm going to pick up a little bit of that blue, pure blue, onto my brush, and I'm just going to add a few little of that blue into the flowers that I just did. And small little doses. Now, if once you're caught up with that, I'm going to give you a few seconds to catch up with that blue, and then what we're going to do is we're going to paint the bottom of the connector from the stem to the flower or cotton blossom. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is the same color that we used to make the stems. We're gonna pick up that same color, so the green and a little bit of black. And we're gonna pick it up on our round brush in the same motion we did before. You're just gonna roll it. It's gonna give you a point. And what we're gonna be doing on each one of the flowers or cotton blossoms that we made is from the stem, we're going to follow the shape of the cotton blossom. So depending on where we want to have that stem sit, if you want to have it sit closer to the front of the image or further back, that's going to depend on how many lines you make that it's connected. So this one, I'm having it face this direction, so we only see 3. This one, I think I'm going to have it facing further back. So we're going to show 4 of them. And how we're going to do that is I'm just drawing the 3 I did and then 1 more below it. And I'll bring that up closer so you can see. Now, so this actually looks like it's connected to that stem. And we're gonna do that to all of them. I'm gonna add a little water to my brush because that paint's drying out. So it's basically 3 points. So through and then 1 down the middle. Okay, we're back. Oh goodness, I got scared for a second. Okay. Now that you've done that, this is where we're also going to add in some extra stems in the background. Again, we're not going to work on the mason jar yet, but we're going to pull out of the mason jar into the background. We wanted to get those base ones down first so that we knew where we had room to put in the extra. Now I'm going to use the same color that I used on the base of the cotton blossom, and I'm just going to pull up through. Again, it can cover, you just don't want to draw over your cotton blossoms, and just kind of pull up and let the brush do its own work. So there's a stem sticking up there, and I think that I'm just gonna pull it over this way. And maybe have another one kind of go out off the side like this. And again, and I say this a lot in paint night, nature's not like straight up and down. It kind of goes off to the side and it moves on every direction, because when plants grow, they grow towards the sun, and depending on where they're growing or the sun's shining that day, they kind of move towards that section. So if your lines to your branches are not straight, that is okay. It's actually preferred because that's real life. So you can kind of see that I had little branches come off here, and you can break them off. Like this one could have a little baby coming off it. So I'm just filling in the area where I feel like it could add. Hey Debbie, thanks for joining. So I'm gonna bring it up so you can see the big mess I have of stems there. Now, what I'm going to do to the stems is I'm going to take this mustard color again that I have, and a little bit of that green. I'm going to pull it off to the side, and a little bit of that mustard color, and I'm going to mix together. What that's going to do is just make more like a greenish yellow. And I'm going to add some highlights to certain parts of the stems. Now, not all of them. I'm just going to add in, so there's a little variance in color in a few of them. So you can do it at the base. You can go down the actual stem, and I'm just a few spots, like, so I'm not touching every single one of them, just a few areas. Oh, that one had white in it. That's not, oh well. So I'm just following a few. Just covering up a few lines, and I'll bring it up close so you can see. So you can kind of see the variance in color now. This one had actually white for my brush. I got pulled into it. Hey Desiree, weren't you just on? Go ahead and clean that brush. And now we're going to, it's all on what you want to do. We're going to be making some blossoms or little, it could be even like pussy willows that are attached to some of these stems, or they could just be some flowers on their own. Pick whatever brushes you're comfortable with. I'm going to use my round brush. I'm going to pick up some white again. And at this time, I don't really care if it's spun in it. I just want paint on the brush. If you can see that, just paint on the brush. And we're gonna start adding in little, I guess, blossoms. Now, they don't have to be attached to anything. We're just gonna put them in this vicinity. So what I mean by that is I'm gonna press that brush to the canvas, and it's going to, the round brush will automatically make almost like petal-like when you just press the brush to the canvas. So this is where now I'm going to just fill in a few spots where I feel like there might be some flowers or petals. And what I would do is I would alternate it. So instead of going like line, 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 I'd go line, 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 almost like it's walking up the canvas. So like right here, I'll put one, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I kind of like that. Maybe I'll add one more at the end and one over here. So it looks like it has multiple blossoms. Okay, good. Yep, totally get it. And then I'm just gonna follow a few more, maybe up in here. And I'm just gonna go around the whole area. There's no rhyme or reason of where I'm putting it. Basically, anywhere there's some green, I'm just gonna put a little bit in there. Oh, that one actually has a little gold in it. And feel free to change it up, because I just kind of made a little bit of a boo-boo, but there's real no boo-boos. I had some of that. I went to go pick up white and I hit the wrong color. So that mustard color I picked up and just put some in there too. All right, or am I gonna put new ones? I think maybe one more right there. Maybe some right there. And I think myself, because we're always our worst critics, I think I want this to be brighter, the flowers to be brighter a little bit. So I'm liking them. I'm liking the blue on them. I'm liking the mustard yellow in there. I think that I'm going to go back over them with some pure white. So I'm just going to pick up some pure white on my brush. And I'm just going to add a few more spots in there, just so that it's not so drowned out with the other colors, that we've got some white. And again, I'm just going in the same motion that we were going previously. I'm just adding white back on top. Several layers now we're using. So this is what it looks like now when I added those other layers of white on top. It kind of just makes it pop. And if you don't want to do that, no big deal. You don't have to do that. I just saw what I was doing and I decided that that would look better on my painting. All right, so now after we let this dry for a second, we're gonna move down into the jar. The jar needs a little bit more detail because we drew all those branches and stems in there, but we now need to make that jar actually show that it's kind of in front, or it's actually holding those stems. So this background is great. It looks great in there. So we're going to use that same round brush. Cleaned it up in my cup of water. I'm going to pick up some white, and that first line that we painted for we're not going to do the back oval, we're just going to do the front oval. We're going to draw a thin line over it. Now, by doing that, it looks like they're in the jar. Now you can highlight the back one because you're seeing the back one, but you don't want to draw over your stems. So we want to, the front one you want to draw over, the back part of that oval you don't. Sorry, there's people screaming outside. I'm trying to figure out if it's joking around or if they're being serious. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I think I hear laughing. I'm gonna let it go. Okay, so now we're going to start drawing out the jar here. So we're gonna pull on the sides out here with that same white where we drew our original lines. So it just brightens it up. And now once we do that, because that's basic lining on those sides, those mason jars have lines across so that you can screw the cover on. So we're just going to make this, the cover, the screw lines for the cover on top here. And it's just 2 or 3 lines, and they don't have to connect all the way through, because we're going to be adding some other colors in there, because glass reflects, but especially where glass may be like thicker in some spots and others, it will pick up the color that's next to it or that will shine through it. So we're going to add some other color into that. So I'm just going to add maybe 1 or 2 lines here. And we're going to go to a different color, and then we're going to jump back to white afterwards. So now, once we've put those lines on, and if I'm moving too fast, I'm sorry, you can always pause. We're going to grab some of the color that we used for the stems, because we're going to put this into the mason jar. So I just picked up some of that green and some of that black that we used for the stems. Same thing that I had on my brush. Now we're going to outline a little bit in some of the spots of the glass, like on the rim a little bit of the jar, where we want to have those lines for the screw top of the jar. And then we're going to kind of outline the side here of the actual jar. So I'm going to show that to you just so you can kind of see that. You're almost outlining it, but not completely. Now, once you do that again, less is more, just so you know, less is more. So less lines is always better. You're going to continue that color very lightly down the side of your jar. However, instead of going on the outside of the white, you want to bring it on the inside. So you can see right here where I did the white line, I brought that color, but I brought the darkness on the inside. And the reason is the reflection is going to show on the thicker part of the glass where it's curving. And you want to do that to both sides. So you can see that it has that color on there. Now we're going to do a little bit of dry brushing. And what I mean by dry brushing is we're going to pick up some white on our brush. So I have a little bit of white on brush, nothing on one side, some on the other. And then I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm going to wipe off the majority of the paint. Okay? And we're going to add a little bit of a shine to our jar. Now that is, actually I wiped out most of my paint. You're going to follow the shape of the jar. So I picked up white, wiped it off of my paper towel, so there's still paint on my brush, and I'm following the shape of the jar. So it's kind of almost like a splotchy paint. It's barely picking up that paint. And you want to kind of just follow it around the shape of the jar. And what that does is it makes it look so it's not so see-through. It has a little bit of a shine on there. And it gives it a little bit of reflection. Okay, and after you've done that, you've completed your painting. Go ahead and sign your masterpiece. I did on the bottom corner there. Not very neat. And then you're done. So, I will be coming on again tomorrow night to paint. If you have any questions, even after this live ends, IM me, DM me, or whatever the lingo is, AOL Instant Messenger. And I'll answer your questions. Feel free to take a picture of your work, post it on my Facebook page, or if you just want to send it to me in IM, that's okay too. I would love to see your work and post it if you're willing onto my Facebook page. Tomorrow night I will be coming on. I don't know what I'm going to be painting tomorrow, but I'm going to probably do some fun, probably on a smaller size canvas again. I just had a ton of canvases delivered today, and I won't be able to use them. So I might be on a 16 by 20 inch canvas, and maybe I'll do that rooster or chicken painting. And I will get that up and running, and I am going to... You struggled? Oh. Feel free to send me a message with your questions, or if you want to go up closer, so that you can see what I'm doing up close, and I can go through the step again. So you just let me know, and I'll help you out. Because I want to make this fun for everybody. Again, if you had fun, feel free to donate. Help me keep this going. Help me keep my studio, so I can bring, more fun to other families. I'm going to probably do a kids one this weekend. It is different. It is different than it is in person, Kathy, absolutely. And mine's not going to look exactly the same if I were to do it again either. So again, feel free to take a picture, and then send it over to me. I want to see your work. Absolutely. And if you're interested in receiving some canvases in the mail with brushes and paints, because I do have little containers that I'm sending paints out, just message me or go to my website, paintingwithlori.com, and click on that online kit. And if you want to order more than what I have on there, message me. We'll set up a deal, and I'll see what I can do about getting you those supplies. All right, so I'm gonna sign off here, and I'm gonna start thinking about tomorrow's painting, and I'm gonna... Oh, great, I'm so excited. Okay, when I sign off, I'm so excited to see it. Yeah, thank you again, guys, for joining me. And tomorrow night's probably going to be about 8 o'clock because I got babies I got to put to bed. And I'll probably be at home, but I wanted to join to go to my studio tonight because I miss this place. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow night. Stay healthy.